All right, we're here at the PlayStation booth with Arne, the community strategist here for Naughty Dog, and we just played some of Uncharted 3, and it looks, wow, it looks unbelievable. So I just played some multiplayer, but that's like in a storyline mode, right? Like that's an actual new thing that wasn't in the last Uncharted.
Well, in last Uncharted, we did have sort of a co-op that was a little bit more narrative-based rather than sort of waves of enemies. We've expanded a little bit here. We've actually called it co-op adventure, and we've put a little bit more of a light narrative over it. So as you're playing the game, not only are you aware of objectives, but sort of you're aware of where you're supposed to go next. And then the entire co-op adventure series has an overarching light narrative storyline behind it, because we're not doing the single-player campaign as co-op. But we wanted to make sure that it's sort of grounded in the Uncharted universe and you're getting the feel for the story.
For the multiplayer story, how long of a game is that? Is that going to be 10 hours, 12 hours?
Well, I mean, it's endless, theoretically, because you can keep going back and playing it different ways. The co-op adventure, we haven't really settled on how many maps there are for co-op adventure, but we know that it's going to feel more expanded than what we've had in Uncharted 2. And then we also have two other co-op modes that we haven't shown here today, which is Co-op Arena, which is waves of enemies, and then Co-op Hunters, where it's actually two players as the heroes playing against waves of NPCs controlled by the AI, but you've got two players also mixed in as the enemy as well. So you're actually playing alongside the AI against human opponents.
Oh, that's really cool. So you can be two enemies in a wave of bad guys trying to fight two good guys. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really, we really like it. I mean, we really like sort of having that twist in there. One of the really awesome things too is as you're accumulating medals when you're on the enemy side, you're able to select what class you can come in as, so you can actually come in as a more difficult or a tougher class against the heroes. And then after about 6 minutes, it starts a new round and you guys switch places, so you get a chance to play both sides.
That's awesome. Now, the multiplayer looks sweet, but my favorite part of the Uncharted series is the story. So what's Drake looking for now, and can you tell us a little bit more about the story that we're getting into?
Sure, we're returning a little bit more around Sir Francis Drake and sort of what Nathan Drake's relationship to Sir Francis Drake is about. There's a period in time where Sir Francis Drake, during his travel around the world, sort of was undocumented for about 3 months. And so we're using that as a platform for our story is that Nathan Drake has sort of found out that Sir Francis Drake had visited the Arabian Peninsula and was looking for the city that was written in the Arabian Nights and sort of in histories called, and it had various names, Ubar, Ram, City of Pillars, City of Brass, and it's supposedly a city of immeasurable wealth. So of course he's going to go try to find that. I mean, he's motivated by finding treasure and sort of undiscovered things. And the story intersects with T.E. Lawrence, who's Lawrence of Arabia and sort of traveled in the Arabian, the Crusades. So as the storylines intersect, Drake will sort of follow T. Lawrence's footsteps through Europe and then eventually into the Arabian Peninsula. And then they're pitted against Catherine Marlowe, which we revealed back in February, and she's sort of the head of this secret society that dates back to Victorian times. So she sort of really uses psychological tricks. She's really a formidable opponent.
I don't know if you've seen the trailer, Catherine Marlowe, but she's a bad lady. Like, she puts it on pretty well. Now, are there any new gameplay traits that are going to be in it that we haven't seen before in terms of the platforming of the game at all?
We've expanded some of the game mechanics. I mean, there's different things. Melee's changed a little bit, so now we've got brawl-style melee, so you can take on multiple enemies at once. You can get grappled, sort of get out of grappling. There's contextual melee, so you'll be able to use the environment, knock people on the environment, or use objects in the environment to melee as well. Our platforming moves, or traversal moves, have been expanded a little bit. Like Drake can now be on a balance beam and sort of climb, directly go into climbing from a balance beam. You can sort of jump backwards. So we're able to sort of expand, even more 360 in terms of how you're able to traverse through the environment.
I have another question. Will Uncharted be able to be played in 3D?
Yeah, Uncharted 3 supposedly totally supports stereoscopic 3D.
So wow, how is that? Is that just unbelievable?
Yeah, no, it's been looking really, really awesome. We've actually, when we started looking at it, we looked at a couple ways to do 3D. There's one of them where you're just basically rendering the whole scene and sort of working with depth of field, but we're actually using a more cinematic role, going to, everything we do is cinematic, and we return to the movies again, and we're actually doing a discrete left eye, right eye, in terms of how we're rendering it and sort of matching it. It gives us a lot more control over depth of field, and you're able to sort of judge distances better, look around corners better, and actually helped us put in split screen too in multiplayer.
Speaking about movies, there's been talk of an Uncharted movie coming out. There's been talk Mark Wahlberg might be playing Drake. Do you know anything about that by chance, and what's going on with the movie?
Well, we obviously talked to the producers, and we have a pretty good, close relationship, and we communicate a lot. But really, like they're really good at what they do, so we sort of let them, do their own thing. They ask us for story background or character background. So we're really curious to see what they pull off. I mean, the producers have a great track record, so we're really looking forward to, it moving forward.
Well, they're good at what they do. Arne and Naughty Dog, you guys are the best at what you do. Uncharted 2 is my favorite game of last year. I can't wait for Uncharted 3. When does it come out?
It comes out November 1st, 2011.
November 1st, 2011. I'll be at my local retailer. Arne, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.